Hello everyone, do you know the difference between strategy and tactics? If you do you combine them properly? Today we go over how you can use these things to fix an issue a good portion of the community has when dealing with Overwatch. Let's also give a big thanks and welcome to Zanzaaa, the guest artist for today's video. Thanks, Zanzaaa. So just to get the basics out of the way, a strategy is your overarching pre-made, that's the important part, pre-made plan to go about something. A very basic strategy might be, I'm going to play Sombra, build ult charge as fast as possible, and do a big EMP push with my team to take the first point. There you go. You could add more details, you could add a lot more details, but that's a basic skeleton. Tactics are the things you do in order to execute that strategy, and the decisions you need to make in real time. When you invis in with Sombra to harass and build ult charge with your gun, there are so many factors that you can't possibly plan for. The enemy's positioning and team composition are some of them, so you need to make decisions on the spot, right then and there, real time, to decide where to pop out of invis, who to shoot, when to shoot, how to aim, how long you shoot before translocating back, that sort of stuff. All right, so that is the difference between strategy and tactics, but why is this so important for Overwatch? Why am I doing a video on it? Why do you need to know this? Well, Overwatch is a tricky game. It really is. It's a tricky game because right out of the gate, it presents a trap that many players fall into, understandably as well, because of hero swapping. Because of hero swapping, the lines between strategy and tactics can seem incredibly blurred, and if you don't pay attention, it can really mess you up. In other games, like Counter-Strike, the line between strategy and tactics is usually pretty clear. At the start of the round, you buy up your guns and your utility, and after that, that's it. You can't change it. In Dota, you pick your heroes, and that's it. You can't change it. You buy an item, and in most circumstances, again, you aren't going to be selling it or anything. There's a big penalty for going back on your item purchases. So you're basically locked into your strategy right from the start by game mechanics. Overwatch, however, isn't like that. You can swap heroes basically whenever you want. There are no rounds to neatly divide everything up into. You can switch from a full poke team to a full dive team within 30 seconds of each other. This makes it very easy for players to forget about strategy, because everything kind of looks like tactics due to being swappable all the time in real time. But going into a game without a strategy or changing your strategy in the middle of a game is the quickest way to lose a match. How many times have you seen teams in matchmaking start to lose or start to do badly and then decide, well, this isn't working. This is not working. We better switch all of our heroes. So you switch all of your heroes only to lose even harder, and then you're completely lost. Or even worse, you're winning, then you switch heroes, and you wind up losing. This happens because the team abandoned its original strategy in the middle of the game. Remember, just because you can switch heroes doesn't mean you should. Not unless you already have a strategy going in regarding how to switch. Throwing your hands in the air and saying, oh, this hero isn't working, might as well just, switch and see what happens, because whatever, with no reasoning behind it, will just lead to failure 9 times out of 10. Alright, so what do you propose we do, Sky? Never hero swap? That's ridiculous. No, of course not. I'm not saying that. You just need to divide your game clearly into strategy and tactics. When you go into a game of Hanamura, let's say, for example, you should have a plan. Even if you didn't make one up beforehand, you still have a plan. You don't need to write something down. Your brain is a pretty cool thing. It does stuff on its own pretty often. Maybe you like playing Genji on Attack Hanamura, and your strategy is flank around the left, kill anybody who's alone, and cap the point so my team has an opening to come in. Sounds like a great strategy, but once you've decided on it, lock it in. That's it. Lock in your answer, $1 million answer. That's your strategy for the round. Don't change it. Let's say they have a Torbjorn and this turret is just wrecking you. You're doing nothing because of it. You're just getting totally stomped. You might be tempted to swap off. Don't. Do not. That's just going to hurt you. It's just going to hurt you in both your long-term improvement and your short-term state of mind for the match. Instead, change your tactics. Maybe you have to approach slower so you can deal with the turret. Maybe you have to hide behind the bell in a way you aren't really used to on the first point to limit the angle that you can be shot from. Win by changing your tactics first, not your strategy. All right, I know, I can already see everyone's up in arms now saying how they had a Genji in their last game who wouldn't swap and it traumatized them or whatever. And Sky, you're just enabling them, you're just enabling the trolls, just enabling the Naruto pickers. Okay. Hear me out. Just hear me out. After the match, that's right, after the match, you as the Genji player should reflect a bit and ask yourself, well, how am I going to deal with that turret next time I see it on Hanamura? And that's really the key. That's what I want you to take from this video. It's going to help you so much. You need to update your strategy after the match. Maybe you decide that if they have a turret, you should go to the right side instead of the left. Maybe you decide that if they have a turret, you should just swap off. That's viable, right? If they have a turret, maybe you should swap off to Widowmaker to try to snipe it. Just an example. Whatever you come up with, update your strategy. So now instead of your strategy being flank around the left and cap the point, now it's flank around the left and cap the point, but if they have a Torbjorn, switch to Widowmaker. The next time you're in Hanamura, try out your new strategy. Then update it again when you catch something else. So every time you're done with a match on Hanamura, you come out with a slightly tweaked strat. This is the proper way to improve on a match-by-match basis. The point is, once you're in a match, that's it. You're done. That's kind of like when you sit down at school, when you sit down for that test, that's it. You're done. The only thing you're going in there with is what you already have. One of the biggest issues I have when I've coached teams in the past who are having difficulties in scrims is making them stick to a strategy throughout a match. It's so easy for players to lose for like 2 minutes, right? Maybe on King of the Hill or something, and the point's at 80% or 70%, and they say, okay, we have to switch everything up. We're not winning, because you can. The game lets you. You can switch whenever you want, but you'll never improve that way, though, because unless you stick to a strategy, you can never isolate the variables. You can never isolate exactly what went wrong and really analyze it after the match. So if you are on a team, on a pre-made 6 team, I suggest having very strict strat review sessions before scrims, and then just stick with the strat. Don't change it. Just stick with it. Change your tactics. Then take that data you collected and use it for your next strat review session to update the strategy, and then use the updated strategy, and you just keep going along and improving that way. And if you are an individual, which is probably most of you, so I'm trying to gear this towards individuals. Same thing. Divide your game up into strategy and tactics. Tactics change in the middle of the game. Strategy does not. Strictly differentiate those two. A good strat takes a lot of time to develop, and a good strat is comprehensive and flexible with many contingency plans. Don't think that a strategy has to be this inflexible thing that you can easily counter and it's just really linear. Like, a good strategy has all these different paths and branches and stuff that goes on with it. Remember that. And finally, when you watch a pro match, try to pick out the strategies versus the tactics. You can often tell when strategies break down and teams start panicking, and it almost never works out, the Shadowburn Panic Genji pick, something like that. It happens with all sorts of teams. So next time, when you're begging that Mei to swap off to Soldier or whatever in ranked, realize she probably doesn't have a plan. She probably doesn't have a strategy in place for Soldier. She went into the match saying, I'm going to pick Mei for a reason. So would you rather have a confident Mei who has a thought-out strategy, or an uncomfortable Soldier going in without the plan? I'd take the Mei any day. And a big part of being a leader in solo queue, for those who want to take more of a leadership style approach, is to kind of get a feel for your team's, all of your individual members' strategies going into the game. You can tell, because generally the players will do the same thing. The Genji will do the flank around to the left, and you're like, oh, okay, I understand what that Genji wants to do. Oh, and I see my Ana is going aggressively up front. I understand what the Ana wants to do. And now you kind of know what everyone wants to do. You can piece it together, and you can make good shots. So think of the game on a match-by-match basis, not a minute-to-minute basis. That's not going to get you anywhere. You'll be better off for it, trust me. So anyway, what are some of your best strategies? Do you have any super secret tips in your playbook there? Did you find it helpful to divide it up like I have, or are all those old silly war books and generals wrong, and you've managed to find success with your tactics? Who knows? Aimbot, that's how aimbots work, basically. Just pure aim, right? So let's hear it in the comments. Be nice, though. Never forget to stay positive, and have a great day. Peace out, guys.